What's up, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Scrubs Teaching Week. Now we're going to go over deck construction. In Force World now, there's 3 decks to know about. Just going to be the main deck, the stone deck, and the rune deck. Each of these is given a specific zone. We have gone over these zones in the How to Play video. So in this video, we're going to be going over the proper construction of these decks. This won't be a coverage on proper ratios of cards or what cards to and not to play, as it's kind of dependent on each player to player and how their playstyle is. This is more just on the legality of a properly built deck. The term to understand going forward is a playset. So a playset is a number of legally allowed cards of the same name. Each game is going to be different on this rule, but in Force of Will, that number is 4. 4 of the same named card to be used unless otherwise stated. So you could run anywhere from to 4 Tama, for example. Like I mentioned, there will be a couple of cards here and there that go around these rules, but we'll go ahead and mention that as we go along. The main deck contains anywhere from a minimum of 40 cards to a maximum of 60 cards. When viewing deck profiles online, you're going to see that most players will stick to as close as possible to 40 cards, as they can keep with consistency. Too many cards in your deck will tend to prevent you from getting the cards that you need when you need to. So here's a few cards that have the otherwise stated rules thing I was talking about. So for instance, Ayu. This says you can only have 1 card of each named card in your deck. Meanwhile, Croco Shark says you can have as many of that named card as you want in your deck. Many people have asked on since Ayu's release how this would work out. In the end, the negative will take precedence over the positive, so you cannot run as many Croco Sharks as you can. You can only run 1. Part 2 of this Ayu scenario, let's say that you run Giant Effigy. Can you run the variant Giant Effigy? Yes, as the names are not the same. That variant section completely changes the name of the card to a new name. So these are 2 different cards. This kind of situation will go for any ruler, technically, so you can be running Time Spinning Witch and play 4 Giant Effigies and 4 variant Giant Effigies. Lastly, we have seen functional reprints of cards made with the same effect but different names. An example is Thunder and Lightning Strike. Both these cards can be run as full playsets in your main deck as well. Things we do know so far is 1, the main deck is from 40 to 60 cards, and a playset is up to 4 cards of the name allowed in your deck. Again, unless otherwise stated. Beyond this, you're going to want to find the right ratio of resonators, additions, and chants, and so on when building your decks based on what you're trying to do. The stone deck now is a deck that contains a minimum of 10 cards and a maximum of 20 cards. Now, within this deck, you only need to maintain playsets when it comes to special magic stones, but you can run any number of basic magic stones while keeping within the parameters of your deck constraints of 10 to 20 cards. Your stone deck can contain no other cards except for special magic stones, basic magic stones, and true magic stones. Some stones contain the name of true magic stone, like I just said. These will follow the same rule as a playset within your stone deck, meaning 4. But they have an additional rule printed on them as a continuous ability that says that while that stone is in play, if another one of the same name enters play, you would destroy one or banish one immediately. So this doesn't prevent you from running more copies of it, but there's no true benefit for you running more than 1 true magic stone. Now, other simpler areas of your deck building construction would be your ruler. This is just simple, say within the formats of your play of New Frontiers, maybe, and work to synergize your ruler with your deck. Not all rulers are going to be really good. Some of them are going to teeter off and not be great. I know you may be huge fans of it, like you might be like Colin, you might be a Millium fan, and Millium's not that great, or maybe a Panda fan. Panda's not that great, you know what I'm saying? Going on, the rune deck is a zone that works close to who you end up picking as a ruler. Now, a rune deck can exist even if a ruler does not have divinity printed on it. It just cannot be used because you would need divinity to be able to play cards from your rune area. This is important to remember only because a rune deck is a zone that cannot be sided in or sided out. I'll have more details on what siding in and out here in a second. But for further details on how the rune deck works specifically in detail, you can check out the video that was the beginning of this teaching week video series if you didn't see it already on how the rune deck works. I'll assume you already know that. We'll kind of skip to the main points of the deck. The color of the deck is tied to your ruler's color unless it's a chant / rune, in which case color does not matter. And the master rune is only tied to the name of the ruler that it's stated on the master rune. This is why when picking your ruler, it may be important to figure out at the same time your rune deck. And given the fact that the rune deck can't be sided in and out, the ruler can be. So there could be situations where you're maybe running a Panda deck and you have a Rune deck and it just sits there, but you can't use it. But maybe on your sideboard you have, say, Adam Seacard. So you can side into him on game 2 just to play with him and have access to those runes at that point. You can also kind of play games with your opponent's mind when they see you have a Rune deck on the side, wondering what could be in your sideboard. Do you actually switch out into a new ruler? Things like that. It's kind of like a mind game thing. Last bit of information is the Rune deck is only 5 cards. So moving on from this point, I've mentioned the sideboard already a few times. So for those who don't know, your sideboard is a set of 15 cards. They're created to slot into your deck and given in certain situations after you've completed game 1. Usually these games are best of 3. So after game 1, going into game 2, you can side in and out certain cards. Maybe you need to tech something in against a certain opponent. Maybe something in your main deck is useless against your opponent you're playing against, and you can take it out and put some better cards in instead. Now, one of the rules into siding in and out is the number of cards that are going to be added and removed have to be the same. So if there's 3 cards you want to add in, you have to make sure to take 3 cards out. If there's 10 cards you want to add in, you got to take 10 cards out. So the number of cards going in has to equal the number of cards coming out. It can't be different. Areas you can go ahead and sideboard in and out of is going to be your ruler, your magic stones, your special magic stones, true magic stones if that's the case. Anything in your main deck from additions or resonators and chants. Some people think sideboard only pertains to certain things. Just want to make sure we knew it revolves around all of it. The only off-limit section is going to be that Rune deck. So now that you have an understanding of 1, how to construct your deck, 2, the rules and how to play the game, how set rotation period works, and how the season is laid out for release, the only other one part it comes down to now is finding cards to put into your deck and understanding how the promo cards work. Promo cards are created as alternative versions of some of the originals that you'll see. Some promos might not come out for a while, others are more immediate. So let's say there's a promo that comes out for a card that would normally rotate in just a couple of months, then the use of that promo follows the original printed card and can only be played for the next couple of months. This isn't seen as often as it was during the Alice and Grim Cluster, where promos for the Grim Cluster were being printed even after the set had already rotated. They're given as, like, say, pre-release promos. The legality of those cards could only be played within the format where Grim Cluster was legal, which in that case was Wanderer format, even though we're receiving it, say, for the newest set being released. Another example is every other month the company will make a promo for the Wanderer League, and this can be a bit confusing at times. Recently we had the announcement of a set of promos, and one of them was the card Flame of Outer World. This card, even though it was printed as a promo just recently, like say a month or 2 ago, is only valid in the Wanderer format where the card was originally printed in. So to understand how those promos work and when you can play them, my advice is if you receive promos, make sure to, when deck building, to as often as you can refer to the unofficial Force of Will database, which is FOWDB. This database has great filtering options that you can easily help to figure out what cards are legal to run, or maybe filter based on color system or cost. You can do this here at the website, which is fowdb.altavista.org. And that's it. I hope this video helps you understand a better way of creating your decks going forward, or how the decks are created. And we'll see you in the next video.